Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Five Questions with the Paulist. Today, we're going to go to our nation's capital, particularly right near the Library of Congress, where Deacon Patrick Ouellette has joined us. Hey, Deacon Patrick, you're the last of the Paulist Deacon affiliates that we're going to interview because we've done them all now. So, congratulations on getting in.
You save the best for last, right?
Absolutely, 100%. I planned that. Let's get right into it. Question one on being a deacon, exactly as you expected, or what's one thing that surprised you since your ordination?
Well, that's one of those Catholic answers. It's a both and. A lot of things are exactly as I expected, but other things are really a surprise. I mean, just before I was ordained, I met with Bishop Paul Laverty, and he gave me a little bit of wisdom. He said, ordination doesn't change you. You're still who God made you to be. You just don't have to tell the dirtiest joke in the locker room. And I'm very grateful to Bishop Laverty for that wisdom because it gave me some perspective as I entered ordained ministry. And it really helped me to understand that just be yourself is the important thing. But one of the surprises to me was how much variation there is between priests as they celebrate the liturgy. You know, as the deacon's up on the altar assisting the priest, we're supposed to do certain things at certain times. And from the other side of the altar or out in the congregation, you don't notice the amount of variation. I mean, we have the liturgical books, do the red, say the black, but there's a lot of room for variation in those words. So that was probably the biggest single surprise.
Cool. We, I'm in deacon formation myself. As you know, we always say, where does he want the book?
Yeah, that's the
To
first part.
the left of the altar, or right in front, to the right, all those kinds of things. Question two, you met the Paulist through Busted Halo. Warms the cockles of my heart as the founder of Busted Halo. So tell me, what's one thing that really spoke to you about Busted Halo that got you to seek more out about the Paulists?
Well, when I first stumbled across Busted Halo, I was searching for content to share with our inquirers and candidates and catechumens in the RCIA process. And I stumbled across the Sacraments 101 series. And just the plain language and the open approach to joyfully sharing these treasures of the church that are our sacraments, that really spoke and resonated with me. And then a little bit later, I got Sirius XM and stumbled across the Catholic channel and then the Busted Halo radio show there. And that quickly became part of my Wednesday evening routine. I would go to RCIA early Wednesday evening after work, share with all the people there. And then afterwards, I'd get in the car, turn on Sirius XM and the Busted Halo show. And it was usually Father Dave Dwyer doing mass class or What Did He Say? And those were the two segments that usually were on when I would get it back in the car into the program. And, you know, Father Dave's joy just comes through the airwaves every time he's speaking with somebody. And I know it's a little cliche, but in between the joy on the videos and on the radio, I found myself going, I want to do that for people. I want to be there to meet them where they are and explain the Catholic faith in ways they can understand. You know, we're all called to evangelize, and the evangelization of America without losing the things that make America America was really the premise and driving force behind Father Hecker's founding of the Paulists. That was really what he was driven by. And I think overall, God gave me a little hidden assist. When my middle child went to college, we moved her in on a Sunday to her freshman dorms at Fordham and Lincoln Center. I'd never been to New York, well, once, but I don't know where I am. So after getting her settled in her dorm, we went over and attended Sunday Mass at the great big church that was shrouded in scaffolding that's on the corner. We were completely oblivious to where we were, but we got inside and we was like, what a beautiful space this is. And the Mass was wonderful. And we were like the disciples on the road to Emmaus, though, completely oblivious as to what was going on. And then a couple years later, when I made the connection with the Paulist, I realized we'd stumbled into the mother church. And, you know, it was just a good feeling after that Mass, knowing that my daughter was in a place that was going to nourish her body, mind, and soul.
Indeed. Question 3. If a Catholic friend or a family member told you that they were going to think about no longer going to mass, what would you say to them to give them some hope?
Yeah, this is a hard question because people are fragile. We all want to be big, strong, impenetrable fortresses, but we're really fragile creatures. And hope is a gift that's ultimately derived from faith. And it's not something that I can give, it's something only God can give. But I would ask the person to be open and honest as to why they're thinking of no longer going to mass, or if they're even thinking of leaving the church altogether. And sometimes we get into our mind that something is just not true. We heard something somewhere and we think it's believable, and we take it to heart. And we need somebody to let us know that we're not correct in our thinking. So, it's oftentimes that kind of thing that happens. The other thing I found that happens in that situation is somebody has been hurt by somebody connected with the church, whether it's clergy or a fellow parishioner, or just somebody on the street who happens to be Catholic and says something. And then that moves them to the point of being so hurt that they don't want to associate with the church anymore. Regardless of how it happened, I'd let them know that first of all, I'm always there for them. Whether they want to go and sit and talk, grab a bite to eat, go on a road trip, or just sit quietly together, whatever they need, I'm happy to be there for them. And I'd let them know that no matter what anybody or anything might say, or what anybody might do, they are a beloved child of God. And nothing they can do, and nothing in heaven or earth, can change that fact. God doesn't abandon his children. And if they do decide to take a break from attending mass, while that would sadden me greatly, and like I matter in this discussion, right? But it would also sadden all of heaven and all the angels. We see that in scripture, that one repentant sinner brings great joy. Well, the opposite clearly must be true. But anyway, if they do decide to take a break, God will be with them, and he'll be ready to embrace them on their return, just like the father in the parable of the prodigal son, as he joyfully runs out to greet his son, even well before he's made it back home.
Amen. So let's go question 4. From where I sit, you grew up in the shadow of the Cedar Point Amusement Park in Sandusky, Ohio. As I sit here in Cleveland, just a stone's throw away from there, what's your favorite amusement park ride there?
Yeah, Cedar Point was a big part of growing up in Sandusky. You didn't have to go there often for it to be the center of your life, especially in the summer. But it's hard to pick just one ride, because there were so many great childhood memories associated with all the rides there. If I'm going to narrow it down to a category, I'd probably have to go with roller coasters, since for a long time, Cedar Point's tagline was America's Roller Coast. And if I go into the roller coasters there, I'd have to say the Raptor is probably the favorite. And it wins out over the sentimental and the iconic favorite of the Blue Streak, because they really ruined the Blue Streak when they put all the safety features in. It might be safer, but it's not as much fun.
Safety schmafety.
Nothing compared to flying out of your seat on the Blue Streak in the old days. We used to ride with our feet stuffed under the seat in front of us, and no seatbelt and no hands. And we were glorious. OSHA would scream, but it was great fun as a kid. But nothing compares to that feeling. And then Raptor came along and gave us that feeling of flying. And I figure it's the closest that I'll get to feeling like I'm piloting a jet.
Sure. I'm gonna have to check those out. I have not yet been to Cedar Point, since I'm a new Clevelander.
Oh, it's a great place. They've done a lot of changes over the last few years. So I encourage you to make a day trip or a weekend out of it.
For sure. And then finally, question 5. There's a zombie apocalypse, and so who are 3 saints or holy people that you'd like to be fighting on your side against the zombies?
Oh, zombie apocalypse. No. Zombies have gotten a bad rap. I mean, there's kind of two genres out there. There's the traditional sci-fi zombie that's just out there going brains and looking for human meat. But and then there's the modern zombies. We see them on some of the streaming networks. They're rational and they think. So if we go with the modern take on zombies, I'd have to say I'd want St. Paul as apostle to the Gentile zombies. What's better fitting than that? I'm sure he would organize communities of zombies and teach them to live in harmony with God and each other and hopefully humans. And then along those,
all the zombies.
Yeah, there you go. Along those lines, then, if you don't quite understand what St. Paul's telling you, I'd want somebody like St. Augustine, the great explainer of the mysteries of God. And he could then break down what Paul taught them and really explain the faith to them. And finally, on that trifecta of great holy people, St. Therese of Lisieux. Because if the other two couldn't get through to the zombies, if they just couldn't comprehend what was going on, she would be able to teach them how to reach salvation, being happy, doing the little things with great love.
The little zombie way.
The little zombie way. Yeah.
That's great. Deacon Patrick, thanks for taking some time today and being with us on 5 questions. I'm glad we've been able to get to all of the Deacon affiliates at this point. And yeah, as someone in formation, I hope you guys know that I'm praying for you and hope to join you one day as an affiliate. So continue to pray for me in my formation and continue doing what you're doing.
Oh, we'll definitely keep praying for you. We can't wait for that invitation to your ordination and to the invitation to when you make your first promise as a deacon affiliate. We need more. There's so few of us.
Yeah, that'll be great. This has been 5 Questions with Paulist. I'm Mike Hayes. He's Deacon Patrick Ouellette, and we'll see you all again soon.